For those of you who haven't listened to our podcast, we titled it Insecurities, both because it is about securities. And Kurt and I weren't really sure where we were going to go with this. We were a little insecure when we started. So that interplay between the technical, what we call wonky side of any of the topics we discuss, and our ability to add what we like to call freshness or funny takes or a new idea to those topics is really where our sweet spot is on the Insecurities podcast. So enjoy a laugh with us as we talk about the title. We really see an opportunity to grow not only individually as professionals, but also within our networks in going out and producing and publishing this content. There's a lot of things we talk about in today's markets. ESG, whether it relates to investing or reporting, the SPAC idea, how do SPACs work as an IPO on-ramp or potentially skirt the rules? Without this podcast, I know that I personally would know a lot less than if I didn't have an episode to prepare for or a guest to interview on those issues. So it's helped both Kurt and I understand and grow as professionals, not only in the topics that we're talking about, but also in some of the market issues that underlie those topics. From a leadership development standpoint, the clear-cut benefit of us working through this podcast together is our relationship with each other and our ability to work directly with guests who are eminent in the securities enforcement and forensic accounting industry. One of the results of this podcast has really been our ability as co-hosts to identify what we've termed our personal brands, whether that's one of us being wonky, more technical, or one of us being fresh, more current or top of mind. Kurt and I have focused on areas of the law and of accounting that we're passionate about. For those folks out there looking to build a personal brand or become eminent in a specific area, I would encourage them to lean into passion more so than production. And you're going to get excited you're going to be enthusiastic about the areas of accounting, of being a CPA, of being an attorney that interests you, much more so than maybe a practice area that your firm or your business thinks you should branch into. Now, that's not to say that we don't have to do those things to become more well-rounded professionals. But if you're looking to create a personal brand or a story that is both concise enough to be communicated quickly and meaningful enough to cut through the chaff to identify you as an expert or someone of interest in an area, it is so much easier to do that if you're passionate about it. Forensic accounting is that for me. And building that personal brand has been a lot of efforts over the years of making sure that I'm up to date on new developments, new fraud cases, new investigative techniques, and also having candid conversations and admitting some of the things that you don't know. I wasn't aware that we could run that kind of data analytics to identify potential fraud. Or, you know what, 2 weeks ago, we had a case where I didn't identify the fraud appropriately. Being able to be authentic and vulnerable, I think, is almost as important as identifying that issue or set of issues that you want to build as a personal brand. I am much more likely to reach out to folks who I can implicitly trust based on the content and the developments that we've discussed in prior interactions than maybe someone who's written the book on forensic accounting or who worked on the top line case in that area. Identifying those individuals that are not only enthusiastic about a specific area, but also care and are authentic about their interest and their curiosity and learning about those areas, to me, is a very effective personal brand. And hopefully those listeners of the podcast of Insecurities see that in what Kurt and I bring to the table. One final area that this changing work environment, changing societal circumstance that we're in has reinforced with me is the need to ask, the need to reach out, the need to identify when it's important to communicate with folks you need. And that's both professional and personal. If you're having a tough day and the partner on your assignment or the client over your engagement is giving you a lot of grief, I feel like it's now more acceptable and almost encouraged to push back and say, you know what? I don't know if I can get that done by Friday. I really don't know if I understand what I'm being asked to do here. And that vulnerability and that authenticity is something that will continue to benefit all of us in the long term in our careers.